Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Star Rail, the exclusive channel, exclusive banner for Zhu Yuan. The limited agent is coming this week to Zenless Zone Zero, and in this video I'm going to break down whether or not you should pull for her, what she's good at, who she'd be good for, and also as well, maybe who shouldn't pull for her. So let's take a look. We can actually see her in game in chapter 2 of the story. So very mild spoilers here. You're just going to see some gameplay and whatnot, nothing too big, but you can actually preview her whole kit there, which is pretty cool. So one of the first things, core thing, she is an ether attack agent. Now, right now in the game, if you want to make an ether team, so if you're going into Shiyu defense, the end game mode, and there's an ether weakness, the only other ether agent in the entire game is Nicole. That's it. And Nicole is a support. She's not going to be doing very much damage. She's really about grouping enemies together, debuffing them, and buffing your team. So if you want to build an ether damage team, Zhu Yuan is quite literally the only option, and might be for a while. We've got obviously drip marketing in terms of the new agents coming in the next patch, patch 1.1, which will last for about a month and a half. And, with their speculation for sure about what might come after that, right? In particular, some agents that you kind of see through the story, Miyabi and co. So they might be coming after that. And none of them look very ethery either. Now, that's not certain, but if you want to build an ether team, this might be it for quite a while. Now, on the flip side of that, here's a reason why you might not want to pull for Zhu Yuan. We'll break down her play style and her skill set in a second, because that's probably the most important thing. How does she actually play? Is she actually fun? One downside is similarly with Ellen, I would say. Here's my Ellen. Because these are damage dealer characters coming out in the first patch of the game, they're quite likely to be power crept. Now, that's not a huge deal. Power creep means it's small and it's slow but gradual. It just means that later characters will be a little bit more powerful, maybe a bit noticeably more powerful. But I think for definitely the foreseeable future, Zhu Yuan's absolutely going to crush it for any content where ether works. Same thing with Ellen. She's going to crush it for any content where ice works. There might be slightly better damage dealers in the future, but it might not be a huge deal. Unless it really matters to you to have the best of the best at the time. The reason why there is power creep, by the way, is number one, damage dealers are the most popular character. Like, people like damage dealers doing big numbers, so they make the most of these characters. Because they sell the most, right? And then also because, again, it's a product. They're trying to sell these characters. Newer ones, generally, not always, but generally, are a tiny bit better than the ones that came before. They do something new and cool and flashy, which again, it's going to tempt people to whip out the credit card and buy them. So, characters near the start of the game, way better than your standard options. But, yeah, might fall off a little bit later on, but it depends. That's really hard to predict. They might not fall off much at all. They might fall off drastically. It's hard to know for sure. There's no question that Zhu Yuan is going to be super powerful right at the start. She's going to be top tier damage, equal to Ellen, I think. And yeah, that's the core of it. Now, how does she play? Well, let's go into just some combat I recorded. Not playing perfectly or anything. This is just trying her out in the story mode and zipping around. The core thing is, you can see under her portrait there in the top left, you basically build up these enhanced shot shells. How do you build them up? Basically from just doing stuff the proper way, really. So her basic attack combo, filling that out, is going to fill up her enhanced shot shells. Doing her EX special attack, doing her ultimate, doing a chain attack, doing, a perfect parry and bringing her in. All those things are going to generate these shot shells. How do you spend them? Well, you hold down the basic attack, and she's going to spend them. She's going to start doing these big ether book shots that will do way more damage than her regular basic attacks. That's essentially how it works. It's relatively simple, but it's actually quite satisfying. And this is going to be a big part of her kit, is particularly, you're not really seeing it here. These are just her trash enemies. But against bosses, your big bosses that you're fighting, it's going to be stunning them, debuffing them with Nicole, and then unloading damage, right? Dumping all your enhanced shot shells, dumping your ultimate, your EX special to refill them and buff up, and just absolutely blitzing these enemies. She's very satisfying. Like, she's flipping all over the place. She's very mobile. So yeah, like, you can actually test it out for yourself, like I said in the story, and get a good sense for how she works. Here's like some of the cool combos where you're like flipping around, coming in with Nicole assists into Zhu Yuan assists into Nicole assists and stuff like that. And yeah, it's quite a lot of fun, it has to be said. It's very mobile, it's all over the place. It's quite a laugh. So the core thing about how she's working is this. Again, right, when she's under suppressive mode. So this is, you hold down your basic attack and she just starts shotgunning these ether attacks. She does more damage. When attacking stunned enemies, this damage buff increases. This goes all the way up to 40%. 40% at F on your passive skills. So what this means is it's going to be pretty darn important to combo her with a stun character. On top of that, we have her additional ability. And this is unique. First time we've seen a character like this. When another character in your squad is a support character or shares the same faction, you get 30% crit rate for 10 seconds after using an EX special, a chain attack, or an ultimate. So again, remember what I said. We're going to come in, stun. It's going to be very important to stun enemies for that bonus damage. Okay, so we stun enemies, we trigger a chain attack. Zhu Yuan's coming in with extra damage. She's coming in with bonus crit rate, and you're just going to be laying into them with all of those enhanced shot shells, all of her energy, her ultimate, massive burst damage. She's going to be a very, very, very burst damage center character for sure, and we'll have absolutely huge burst damage. Very fun, very cool. Yeah, and pretty simple as well, really. She's actually not too complicated. I think fairly similar to Ellen. There's a little bit of extra gameplay there compared to like the A rank characters. A bit of extra gameplay managing her shot shells and keeping track of that resource. Same thing with Ellen and her flash freezes. So I think honestly very similar. It is worth noting on her banner, we are going to be getting Nicole and Ben on her banner. Now, Ben, not great. Ben's not great. Ben does synergize well with Khalida, so I think if you do have Khalida, that's not bad. You could run Ben with Khalida on a team. You would not run the two of those, however, with Zhu Yuan, because they're not a support, and they're not from her faction either. I did mention this briefly, but this is very unique. Every other character so far has, like, if I look at Ellen, it's same attributor faction. Same attributor faction. Zhu Yuan is very unique. Just any support character or the same faction. Now, we don't have anyone else from her faction yet, but we're going to be getting some in patch 1.1. Check out my video on the upcoming characters in patch 1.1 to hear more about that. And a support character, though, gives her a lot of flexibility. The best one, no question, is going to be Nicole. Nicole's a fantastic support. Again, with her chain attack, perfect here. Land her chain attack, and you're going to be stripping the target's defense 40%, which is fantastic. With her additional ability, which is when someone has the same attribute or faction, so you put her in with Zhu Yuan, who's ether. When you apply a debuff to an enemy, all squad members do 25% more ether damage. So perfect. And Nicole places this black hole, right, with her chain attack, her EX special, or her ultimate. You wouldn't use her ultimate really, but you know, with her EX special or chain attack, you place the black hole. It's grouping enemies together. It's stripping their defense. It's increasing the ether damage they take. Fantastic. And then if you got Nicole's signature W engine, the Vault, even better. You're going to be boosting up Zhu Yuan even more. If you get Nicole in a support set, like what's it, Swing Jazz, I think it is, boosting her damage even more. They're the perfect combo. Nicole is going to be on Zhu Yuan's banner, so that's brilliant. Like I said, Ben on the banner, not quite so exciting. Not quite so exciting. He'd be more for potentially a second team. And if you're coming in and let's say you've got Anby, but you don't have any other stun character, like I've got Lycon, which is amazing for Ellen. But if you don't have Lycon, if you don't have Khalida, you only have one stun character. That becomes a little bit difficult in Shiyu defense. Ben might fill in as a defense character, giving you extra. He gives you like shielding, etc. So that might be decently useful for you to survive in Shiyu defense. And he does decent days as well and some decent damage and keeping you alive. He might be okay to fill in at the start. I'm not too sold on Ben yet. We'll see more. He's very slow. I feel like if you're pulling for Zhu Yuan, you're going to enjoy a playstyle that's fast and flowing and nimble and agile. And Ben is really not that. I guess it gives you a contrast if you're interested in playing that. But he's not super top tier. Nicole is great. Nicole is great. For me, I rate pretty much Nicole, Sakaku, and Rina all kind of like A tier. Honestly, for me at the moment, none of them are standing out as being insane. They all just seem really, really good. I'm waiting for the late game to really lock in and push that further. Nicole's Mindscapes get really powerful as well. More energy for her. This one is great where her energy field, the black hole, is bigger. That's really strong. If you get all the way up to E6, crit rate gets boosted up, which is insane. It's super insane as well. So yeah, Zhu Yuan, I think her banner looks really good. Why would you not pull for it though? Now here's something to consider. If you have pulled for Ellen, you might be quite stretched on resources to get Zhu Yuan. If you skipped Ellen, Zhu Yuan's a very good pick. That locks in a limited attack agent for you. It gives you a powerful, like Ellen is a step beyond the other damage agents in the game. Zhu Yuan is going to be the same. It's going to be tough to field. You know, without Ellen or Zhu Yuan, your teams are just going to be a step behind everybody else. So that's definitely an incentive to pull for Zhu Yuan. For sure, if you skipped Ellen. If you got Ellen, you might skip Zhu Yuan, right? Like for me, I've personally already built up a couple of teams. I'm working on a couple of teams. There's a couple more I might build. I'm eyeing up some patch 1.1 characters that look cool as well from the drip marketing. If I was to pull for Zhu Yuan, number one, I wouldn't be able to guarantee I could get her without spending a lot of money, right? So I'd need to spend money to get this character. That's a downside. And if I do get this character, I'll be going into the next patch with no resources. So I wouldn't be able to get the other upcoming characters. So check out the patch 1.1 drip marketing. Check out, maybe I'll do a video tomorrow on some speculation in terms of the what special ops guys that might be coming after that. And yeah, so that's one of the main reasons not to go for it. It's really the opportunity cost of missing out on other characters. I think that she herself is objectively really good. You've got some interesting flexibility. Obviously, Nicole is her best, but you've got the flexibility that, I don't know, let's say the enemy is electric weak. They're weak to electric. We could go, okay, what if we throw in, let's say I've got Rena. I don't, but let's say we did. Okay, I'll put in Rena. Rena's a support. Great, I'll put in Rena and Anby. And they can actually break the electric shields on those enemies. And Zhu Yuan, she's still getting that synergy. So I think that's really cool as well. Between her and Ellen, it's tough. I think if you got Lycon, I'd be going for Ellen. If you don't have Lycon, I think Zhu Yuan might end up better. She's got a very strong free-to-play team with Anby and Nicole, right? They unlock their full passives. You get the stun with Anby, and Nicole's just perfect. You're going to get Nicole on Zhu Yuan's banner as well, and that's great. Her W engine is looking to be very, very strong as well. It gives her a bunch of crit damage, which is very powerful with the inherent crit rate that she gets. So she's going to have crazy high stats. And it also boosts the damage of her ether damage basic attacks, which is really strong as well. So her W engine is very strong. Again, the W engines, you have to either really like a character and want to main them, because there's a big opportunity cost. If you are a big spender, then obviously it's really good. So that's up to you to decide what's worth more, real life money versus stuff in game, and getting a W engine, having the strongest version of the character. The W engine looks very strong. Is that worth it over having more characters? What is more fun to you? And what you want to do? Certainly, you know, getting her in her W engine, throwing her in with Nicole Anby is going to be an incredibly, incredibly strong team. Nicole's W engine is also very strong as well. So that's all worth considering. For me, personally, I am unfortunately not going to pull for Zhu Yuan. I would like to get her. I think she's super fun. But I'm going to be, you know, going in low spend, trying to save up my resources for patch 1.1. I think it's going to be a bit more valuable. To build up a Zhu Yuan team, for me, would be basically building up a bunch of characters from scratch, right? I've got like electric stuff going on. I'm looking at potentially doing Nakamata and Piper. Maybe if Jane Doe ends up being Anomaly, like we're speculating, then okay, great. We could build a cool Anomaly team with Grace and Jane Doe. Nakamata could come in there. For me to switch over and build a Zhu Yuan team, I do have the Anby built up. I'd have to build up Nicole and Zhu Yuan. It's building like a whole other team. I don't know if that's a good use of resources for a low spend person versus waiting a little bit and getting some agents from the next patch and seeing where we're going from there. So that's sort of my thoughts at the moment. But she is super fun. Very, very cool. If I did not have Ellen, I would be going for Zhu Yuan. I went for Ellen, who's super fun as well. I think they're both great choices. Let me know what you think. What are you going for? I think it's up to you. I think it's totally up to you. I think they're both very, very good choices. They both have the potential, of course, to be power crept as time goes on. But same with everything. They're certainly giving you a very big advantage at the start of the game and helping you smash through content. And most importantly, from testing, obviously playing lots of Ellen, and from testing Zhu Yuan, they're both super fun attack agents and very much build into that traditional playstyle of attack with a stun and a support. So buffing up, stunning enemies, and so on. So I think that's sort of
Officer
what's
148,
going
Zhu
on
Yuan,
there.
ready.
Guys, let me know what you think. Does she have her signature W engine here? No, they didn't even give her one in the test. In the story. No W engine. That's sad. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.